Hello there, Saber World. This is Goodman. This video is a quick shot of a saber I'm building for a friend of mine. This is one of those famed Larbel Negotiator hilts. This saber will feature a crystal focus 4.3. There are a few of these out there already. However, this will be the first Negotiator to feature a LedEngin 10-watt blue with 2 of the blue dice wired in series for the main blade, and 2 of the dice wired in series off of a Clash pad and power extender setup to give essentially what's going to result in a main blade equal to, if not slightly brighter than, a Sol P4 blue, and then upon a Clash or a blade lockup trigger event, the blade will then strobe for 40, maybe 60 milliseconds with double brightness. So it creates a very nice enveloping blue in a room or in a dark area. So I think a lot of us have already seen Negotiator hilts, so as far as that's concerned, it's fairly standard. As we all know, the Negotiator hilt is differentiated from prior Larbel versions, primarily in the grip, where we can see here the grip in the Negotiators are not as deep as the screen accurate ones. That's just the one downside of the hilt. The rest of them are pretty spec, and the advantage obviously is it allows you to cram something like a crystal focus in here. It also allows a few extra touches. What I did with this particular saber, I'll go ahead and show you, is people know me know that I like the G core, Goodman core, and so for this particular saber I did opt to build one of these. So this is just sort of the interior, the guts, the core of the saber itself, where we have a crystal and what I'm just calling power gates, which are alternating copper, brass, and aluminum parts, some of them scavenged, most of them, however, just created out of piping detail created on a mill and or lathe. And it sets the CF underneath the crystal. The 1.3 millimeter recharge port is here. It's a very small recharge port, a lot smaller than the standard 2.1 millimeter ports that a lot of us use. Thank you, Eastern, for the heads up there on the 1.3s. And again, just to add some detail, some realism, quote unquote, to the hilt, where when we fire this up here in a second, you'll be able to see that that's going to glow. And again, the idea with the core or any of my G cores is to hide all the wiring, because ideally, if we can get away from it, I definitely want to minimize wiring in my builds. So one thing not yet complete about this saber is obviously I'm missing a button head screw there, and the switches, what I did for the switches are they're actually hidden. There's a hole here and there's a hole here, and those access micro tactiles. For now, until I finish the plunger design, I'm just activating them with these little pins here. So I'll go ahead and plug this in. Unfortunately, I do not have an ultra edge blade, my favorite, and so I'll have to get by with the ultra edges, the ultra blades instead of the ultra edge blades. Go ahead and power this up here. So here's that core again, where you can see the idea is to have this central core here sort of lines up with a power gate, and then it just has these little, again, just detail to make it look like power is being sapped out of this crystal, which techies will know is not how lightsabers work, but whatever. And here, again, just a little more detail to show something interesting in the saber itself. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up, because even with all the lights on, it's fairly bright. It's overloading the CCD in my camera here, but let's see if we can't... Again, I'm not sure if this is... It's probably just wiping out the LED, but anyway, there is a blue Clash. I'm gonna have to shoot a final video, not so close up, and that'll better show the Clash. Oh, you can also probably hear when I put it down, there's a vibro motor back here in the pommel that perturbs in sync with the main LED. So go ahead and power it off. And again, that just sort of gives you an idea of how the saber is going to work. Little reveal chamber. As far as spacing, I guess the last thing I'll cover is it does have a 1.5, just under a half depth on the blade holder. So it is a 1-inch blade designed for fighting. All my sabers are designed to be able to beat around with. The cells are actually, instead of using 14500 size, I went to the 14630s. So they'll allow, I believe it's 1200 milliamps instead of the 800 milliamps of standard 14500. So longer lifetime to be able to run out with the saber a little longer. And again, fairly straightforward. CF card is accessed by removing the pommel, and it's sitting right back here under the recharge port and the motor. And yeah, that's it. Fairly straightforward. You know, maybe 30-40 hours of work on it, and it's essentially complete. I'll be shooting a final video again with a greater distance between the camera and the blade. My sense is it'll give you a better idea of the strobe. Some of you have already seen my videos. For example, the Larbel shows the clash a lot better when shown at a distance. So look out for a second video on that. That's definitely, I think, the main feature of this saber beyond the G-core. You know, you're going to want to see the double blue flash. Very bright, and I think definitely a neat feature of this saber from ArkLight Arsenal. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next time.